5 minutes after the hour of 6 a.m., it is Thursday, March 7, 2019, 13 degrees outside. Tom Egeloff, your morning mayor. Welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And Shane Mataman on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. And Tom Egeloff, as I said earlier, your morning mayor in the house. And, well, it's Thursday, Shane.
It's the double hump day. 2 days left.
Yeah. It's an open line day, too. We don't have any guests today. At least I don't think we do. So we'll see how that plays out. But, hey, we're here for you. So anything you guys want to talk about today is it's open lines, open minds, all that kind of stuff. So come on down. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Or you can text us at 478-8298, 478-8298. Put that in your speed dial, and you can message us text line over there. And, well, our weather, Shane, much better.
Yeah. It's livable.
I walked out at 7 degrees this morning and wondered if I even needed a coat. It was so warm.
Yes, it's like, you get on your porch and you go snowshoes, cross-country skis,
all that stuff, yeah.
Foods. Yeah, like what choice today?
That's right. What's my choice today?
Yeah.
Well, we're looking for, believe it or not, a high of 34 today with an overnight low of 16, partly cloudy, almost no chance of precip, which means we'll probably get 5 inches of snow. But anyway, on Friday, we are going to get some snow. They've downgraded it from 3 to 5 inches to 1 to 3 inches, and 25 will be the high on Friday, 13 the overnight low. And then the snow tapers off into Saturday, high of 24, overnight low of 2 degrees, so it's going to get a little cooler on Saturday. And Sunday, 27 will be the high, 2 again, the overnight low. And then Monday...
Wait, that is great. So you lose an hour and get more snow.
And you lose an hour and get more snow.
That's the deal
right.
This weekend? That's the deal this
That's
weekend?
the deal. That's the deal. We got to turn our clocks ahead, spring forward, fall back. Yeah, spring forward. So, look on the bright side.
Time on the couch.
Well, look on the bright side, though. You lose an hour of snow. So
that's true.
You're okay. You're all right.
you could gain more in the next hour.
Yeah, right. Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, okay,
whatever.
Okay, let's leave it there.
All right. Sunday and Monday are both going to be sunny, and 32 will be the high on Tuesday, low of 13, and then snow comes back in on Wednesday. 25 will be the high, 10 the overnight low. Temperatures around the area right now, Livingston is 4 degrees, Manhattan is 3, Three Forks is 4 degrees and mostly cloudy, Bozeman is 6 degrees, and Gallatin Gateway is 8, and Ennis is 12, Gardner is 19, and at the airport in Belgrade, it is 4 degrees. So that's your weather. Take it or leave it.
Well, you make snow sound like a relative, that keeps visiting without being invited.
Well, it is. Have you seen all of the memes on Facebook that they want Punxsutawney Phil's head? That they've decided that he needs to be before Mueller and the Senate to account for six weeks of good weather. What are you talking about?
It's the president's fault.
You lousy rodent. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure they can find reason to believe that the Russians are responsible for this.
Well, I think it is. I think Russians and the Chinese are working together to control the weather. So
that's right.
That's it. That's what it is. That's what it is. Because I think it's 75 in Russia today. So it's same in China. So
may they melt away.
Yeah. Let's hope so. All right. Well, hey, it's the 66th day of the year, 299 left, and on this date in March 7th, 1936, Adolf Hitler ordered his troops to march into the Rhineland, thereby breaking the Treaty of Versailles and the Locarno Pact.
Yeah, and it was amazing because he just felt Germany had been humiliated. Mm-hmm. Especially with the war reparations the country was forced to pay for World War II.
Yep.
Second to that, a lot of historians now, 100 years later, think it was not really World War I, World War II, but just one continuous.
Yeah, it was kind of a break in between because the same people were involved in both.
Exactly.
So yeah, it was kind of it was like the what do they call it, the Gulf War and then the Iraq War. They were just kind of all together in the same place. So yeah, we'll take that. So in
proverbial kicking the can down the road.
Right. In 1793, during the French Revolutionary Wars, France declared war on Spain, and Spain's been laughing about that ever since. France declaring war on us? You kidding me?
Well, the discovery in the Central America of the silver and gold by the conquistadors of Spain. Yeah. And the 16th century and the shipping of all that massive amount of wealth to Mexico, made it an incredibly wealthy country, but they did nothing with it. They invested in nothing. They just invested it in war. Mm-hmm. And, 100 years later, Spain, what? Nothing.
Yeah.
To this day, it's a great country, they have a great ethic, good people, but, they've just never came back from that. Never created any great wealth for the future.
Nope, they never did. In 1850, on this date, a 3-hour speech to the U.S. Senate, Daniel Webster of Massachusetts endorsed the Compromise of 1850 as a means of preserving the Union and preventing wars.
Yeah, this was one of those very important compromises. Mm-hmm. At the time, there were 22 senators from 11 states. Missouri, and so what the compromise is to allow Missouri into the country from a territory as a slave state, while admitting Maine as a free state.
Right. Yeah, it's the Missouri Compromise is what it was called.
Mm-hmm. So you had all these territories to the east. It was determined that would not, particularly in the northwest, rather, not the east and the west, northwest and farther west, would not be allowed to come in as slave states. So the Southerners were really concerned about losing their position of equality in the House and the Senate.
Right. So,
like today.
Yeah, and that led to the Civil War eventually.
That's right.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 10 years later.
The Democrats of the South, the party of the Civil War and slavery. There you go. Mm-hmm. Really sad.
All right, 1911 on this date, President William Howard Taft ordered 20,000 troops to patrol the U.S.-Mexico border in response to the Mexican Revolution.
Another amazing factor about your history, a lot of people don't know this, that from 1845 until 1945, at the end of World War II, for 100 years there were, U.S. military, not, reservists, but the actual military on the border between Mexico and the U.S. because of the conflict that was there constantly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what you're dealing with today is not new. I mean, this is old history. The U.S. has been through this for 150 years.
I gotta say, been keeping the Mexicans out as long as I can remember.
Yeah, that's right. Hold them back, baby. Hold them back. Right. Hey, you guys at that end of the rope, hold that rope up. Come on, hold them up.
Well, in 1912, Norwegian explorer Roland Amundsen, somebody, arrived in Hobart, Australia, whoever he was, where he dispatched telegrams announcing his success in leading the first expedition to the South Pole the previous December.
Well, you know what they say about the Antarctica? It's the driest place on the planet. Go figure.
That is. 1926, the first successful transatlantic radio telephone conversation took place between New York and London, and we talked about that before when they were laying it, I guess, this day in history. And quite a deal because the ocean's not flat.
Yeah. And an amazing accomplishment because it was 1876 when Alexander Graham Bell received the patent for the telephone.
Yeah.
So, you're talking literally 50 years from patent to laying the cable across the ocean. Like, wow.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Well, in 1945, during World War II, U.S. forces crossed the Rhine at Remagen I can't pronounce it. Ramadan. Yeah, I can't pronounce it. Geez, Germany using the damaged but still usable Ludendorff Bridge. At least I can pronounce Ludendorff.
Yeah, there you go. Well, and important why for two reasons. This was the first Americans into Germany.
Yep.
And remember, this started December 7, 1941. Mm-hmm. So we're basically 4 years later, basically.
Almost the end.
That's right. And then number two, the Russians were already in, Eastern Germany.
Right.
So they were on the march to Berlin, and the Americans really, really wanted to get there because they knew the fix was in, but they couldn't tell anyone.
Right. Yeah. 1955, the first TV production of the musical Peter Pan, starring Mary Martin, aired on NBC, and I'm old enough to remember that evening.
Yeah, black and white.
Yeah. 1965, a march of civil rights demonstrators was violently broken up at the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama, by state troopers and sheriff's posse in what came to be known as Bloody Sunday.
Right, and we all saw that,
on TV. Yep.
On TV with dogs and fire hoses, and this is like into the Johnson administration. Mm-hmm. He just won the '64 election against Goldwater.
Yep.
Yeah, so it was a very, beginning of so many things. Mm-hmm. The Vietnam War, women's rights. That was happening.
Oh yeah, draft. Everybody going to Canada. Yeah, it was. It was
happening. Don't forget the drugs.
Yeah, sex, drugs, rock and roll came into vogue. Right. Yeah, if it feels good, do it. was the mantra of the day.
Me, my, and I, baby. Me, my, and I.
That's right. In 1975, on this date, the U.S. Senate revised its filibuster rule, allowing 60 senators to limit debate in most cases instead of the previously required 2/3 of the senators present. So.
That's great.
Yeah. 1981, on this date, anti-government guerrillas in Colombia executed kidnapped American Bible translator Chester Bitterman, whom they accused of being a CIA agent. Those were the days, back in Colombia.
Yeah. Yep. Which led to the Contra matter with Reagan in office and what he had to do to apologize to Americans and ask for redemption.
Yep. 1994, the U.S. Navy issued its first permanent orders signing women to regular duty on a combat ship, in this case, the USS Eisenhower.
Which is an amazing thing considering what happened yesterday with Martha McSally's admission of being
sexual
raped.
Abuse,
Raped by
it's a little early for raped.
Well, I think she said that when.
Well, she said it, but we don't need to say it.
I'm sorry. The early in the morning. I apologize.
That's okay.
Sexual abuse.
Calm down.
But she was one of the first women combat fighters that flew one of those hogs.
I know. Yeah. She was a pretty big deal there. So.
Those guys are lucky she didn't take a fly over them.
Well, I would hope so.
Whoa.
In 1999, movie director Stanley Kubrick, whose film included Dr. Strangelove, A Clockwork Orange, and 2000: A Space Odyssey, died in Hertfordshire, England, at age 70.
You've been there, haven't you?
Yeah, sure. Lots of times. Yeah, I just call it H-E.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah. At age 70, he just finished editing Eyes Wide Shut. If you haven't seen Eyes Wide Shut, I don't even know how to describe that movie.
You can't at this time of the morning.
No, you can't. In fact, a good practice would be keeping your eyes shut while you watch it.
That's right. Exactly.
So I don't know.
Well said, Mayor.
Well, Stanley always went overboard. He always had he was always a wacko. The Shining and some others there. He was always playing
with the boundary of the screen.
Yeah, that was it. So. All right, we got to take care of the farmers, ranchers, and truck drivers, cab drivers, whoever's out there that gets food to you, gets clothes to you, gets booze to you, bartenders. We got to take care of all these people. So
that's right. Their theme song, "Staying Alive."
That's
staying
right,
alive.
staying alive. There you go. All right, we'll be right back after news and agriculture and some more things. 26 minutes after the top of the hour. It is Thursday, March 7, 2019, 14 degrees outside. Tom Eaglehoff, your morning mayor. Welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox. And Shane Matobin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. And, well, Shane, finally, the Limestone West Timber Sale has been put to bed. They accepted the bid from the whoever it was, the Save Our Gallatin Front. They have a 25-year conservation license for the 443 acres of state trust land slated for the Limestone West Timber Sale. So the trees are saved, and I don't know. We have 400 acres of trees now instead of homes, instead of homes, and I don't know what else. But anyway, exactly. There you are. So, I don't know, depending on how you feel about it.
Solve a problem.
Yeah,
not solve a problem.
Yep, so I don't know. I'm not sure which way I fall on that group, but, at least it's done. We've been talking about it for, 2 weeks?
Yes, we have.
At least.
Yeah.
So,
it's on. This goes into the move on column.
Yeah, let's move on. All right. We have to look at those trees for 25 more years before anybody can do anything about it. So, all right. Well, also, wolves are in the news again, Shane. The U.S. plans to put an end to wolf protections. So, U.S. wildlife officials plan to lift protections for gray wolves across the lower 48, reigniting the legal battle over a predator that's running into conflicts with farmers, ranchers, as its numbers rebound in some regions. So, why? Some people wonder why we brought them here in the first place, and other people say they've done wonders for the environment. They've changed the course of rivers, and stuff is growing, and we've thinned the herds of people or the animals that's, eat everything down to the ground. And so, I don't know. Either way.
As a Canadian who never protests, because, we just don't do that.
You don't do that, do you? Yeah.
When I visit in July, I'm bringing a sign because I'm going to protest the killing of Canadian wolves.
Okay. Yeah, we got them from you. Thanks a lot. So, I don't know. Wolves have been a topic of conversation in this area for as long as I've been here. And, they came in while I was here, I guess. They started introducing them into Yellowstone and into the lower part of Montana here. So, but
it was one of those things that biologists and all those great guys, scientists and everything, after the murderous fire you had in Yellowstone Park, you remember, and they thought, it'll never come back, and within 2, 3, 4 years, bam.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they did all these studies about how more things were coming into the park because there was the undergrowth was growing and flowers and birds, and then they said, there's no wolves left.
Yeah. Well, anyway. All right, we come back. Well, the high school name won't die, but hey, there's a new opinion poll, and you can put your 2 cents in for the high school name, and we'll be back in just a couple seconds to talk about that. We got Montana State News, got Fox News, and Brooke Foster weather, and no Noxatril. So we'll be back right after this. 24 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Thursday, March 7th, 2019, 13 degrees outside. Shane Matobin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. Half man, half amazing. Tom Eaglehoff, your morning mayor in the house, and this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And our poll question of the day, Shane. Will President Trump be reelected? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, we'll find out in about 18 months.
32 states. He'll take 32 states.
You think so? All right.
Yep.
Well,
and the House back.
Yeah. Well, coming up at the 7 o'clock, or I guess probably the 8 o'clock hour, we want to talk about this a movement to do away with the electoral college. I wrote a blog on it today, so if you go to kmmsam.com, click on Tom's blog, you'll see the 17 states are doing an end run around the electoral college. So we'll be talking about that in the 8 o'clock hour. So, and if you can't listen during the 8 o'clock hour, well, guess what? We record all of our shows, and you can get them over at Tom and Shane's podcast. And we put them up about an hour or so after the show. And so you can listen to your heart's content while you work or play or on your phone or on your tablet or laptop or whatever you got out there. So
whatever pleases you.
There you go. Okay. Well, we got an opinion poll for the new high school. So here we go.
Here we go.
Opinions will be taken until 5 p.m. on Wednesday, March 20th. And then the school board will meet and likely vote on a name on March 25th. So if you're online, go to BSD, Bozeman School District, bsd7.org, and click on the names, mascots, and colors logo to get to the link where you can fill in your choice or your whatever it is that you.
That's correct.
Whatever you think it should be named. 5 names have been recommended by the 23-member naming committee, and those are Gallatin High School, Spanish Peaks High School, Stormcastle High School, West High School, and, of course, the most popular West Slope High School. So
most popular.
Right. So popular that we're doing away with that one probably. So I would think that's going to be in last. I still like Stormcastle High School because you would have the Stormcastle Golden Knights. Come on.
I know you're punching baby.
That's a fundraising T-shirt if I ever heard one.
And it's on the list.
I mean, it's on the list.
Stormcastle's there, baby. Good job.
There you go, man. Stormcastle. Yeah, Stormcastle Golden Knights. Yeah, why not? And somebody asked the other day why Golden, and I said, why not? What do you want to call them? The Platinum Knights or the?
That's very good. I like that.
What, the Tungsten Knights? No, they're the Golden Knights of Stormcastle Golden Knights. Just rolls off the tongue, does it not? Even I can say it, and I stumble all over the place here.
Copperheads would work, and then they could have a snake as a mascot.
Jeez. Well, that's not on the list.
I know, but I gotta throw a stone at something.
Okay. Well, I don't know. But anyway.
How about the Rattlers?
Yeah, there you go. That's so much better.
And then they could have a baby rattler.
They could.
Diaper as a mascot.
Yeah, they could have binkies.
Yeah.
If you don't have computer access, you can still participate in this poll. You can either call the superintendent's office at 522-6001, 522-6001, and you can ask for a form to be mailed to you, or you can visit the superintendent's office at Wilson School at 404 West Main. So you can stop by there if you're really dedicated. They got parking in the rear off of Babcock there. They got handicap parking back there, so you can, if you need it, can't climb the steps to the Wilson School in front. You can park in the back, and they got handicap parking back there. And they're on the ground floor, so you can just wander right in there and get your form.
Need to bring your ID and your property tax bill so you can prove you're eligible to vote. Okay?
That's right, yeah. Well, and also the computer votes, they will only take one per IP address. So there you are. So you can only vote once online. So can't pad the thing. So
you can't pad the voting.
And in our poll today, Donald Trump, will Trump be reelected? There's only one vote there too. So if you try to vote again, it'll just say your vote's already been done. So,
well, I voted. I'm Canadian.
So you're done. You're not supposed to vote.
Yeah, I don't have to come to your country as an illegal immigrant and vote. I can just do it from here.
Right. All right. Well, in the other news that's going on, a lot of people aren't big fans of immunization, Shane. But we're going to host an immunization clinic next week because we've had a serious measles outbreak states throughout the nation, and so these could touch Montana. And Gallatin health officials announced walk-in immunization clinics will open next week before schools let out for spring break. So the Gallatin City County Health Department will host the clinics March 11th through the 14th from 1 p.m. to 4:30 and offer immunization against measles, mumps, and rubella. So get over there and check that out.
The big thing about this whole immunization thing, even from the beginning, they had concerns of rejection or the risk of people dying. That just was part of it.
Yeah.
But the argument was for the greater good because the diseases were so horrific and they could proliferate, so fast, and the damage was far greater to a greater number of people than the danger of the loss of people because of it. But now nobody talks about the greater good. It just
only us.
Can't hurt anybody. Can't hurt. Nobody can be hurt.
That's right. All right. We'll be right back. We got to take a quick break here. So you're listening to the Morning Soapbox, KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. We'll be back right after these important words. It is 13 minutes before the top of the hour. It is Thursday, March 7th, 2019, 13 degrees outside. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor, and Shaman Taubman, half man, half amazing, in Vancouver, British Columbia, the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And in other news, Shane, this one, you'll have to explain this one to me. A couple accused of conspiring to steal money and guns from a dead man. I'm not sure if you're dead. Do you really care if they take your money or your guns? It's one of those things. You read the story and it's a double take, right? I know. I wish Jennifer was here to explain to us what rights the dead have to their property.
I don't know.
I was going to say, do the dead guy get to keep the house?
Well, you saw that thing yesterday about I can't remember where state it was, but a father has filed a claim of a state for an aborted child of his.
Yeah.
So now this is like opening up a new door.
New can of worms,
question.
Yeah.
Another case. There's another one, right?
Well, anyway, a Belgrade couple is accused of conspiring with two other people to steal $50,000 in cash and collectible guns from a dead person. The man is also accused of shooting at a co-conspirator. Now, that's not exactly loyalty among thieves, is it?
That's what you call real greed.
Or honor among thieves, I should say. Well,
yeah, real greed, baby. Yeah, that's amazing.
So anyway, I don't know.
Is this where we say only in Montana? No, I don't think so.
I don't know. It's one of those things that... Anyway, the pair was arrested Tuesday after admitting to stealing money and guns from Ellard Weber's estate. They denied the shooting, but I don't know. But anyway, they reported that a man stole $50,000 in collectible guns from his Belgrade home. The property belonged to Weber, who recently died, and a deputy found the man accused of stealing the money and guns and seized his truck. The next day, deputies searched the man's truck and found 17 firearms, ammunition, gun safe, and cash. So,
yeah, the amazing thing about these stories that I find fascinating is that the media always looks for the worst picture of the accused they can possibly find.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And, well, in this case, it's in the Chronicle this morning if you want to see these two folks. It looks like they're mug shots, but yeah. But anyway, well, the guy looks like he would steal 50 grand from you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You're
guilty.
I don't know. So anyway, well, that's just all the news that's fit to print, I guess. So. But in better news, Shane, the Bozeman High Choir is going to sing at Carnegie Hall this coming Sunday. So that's a pretty big deal.
That's huge.
That's huge, isn't it? Yeah.
Props to them.
Yeah. They're getting all excited here. They're going through their final rehearsal, and they're heading off to New York City to, New York. surprisingly, they asked how many of the choir have been to New York City, and almost every hand went up. So
there you go.
I guess everybody took their kids to New York. Why? I have no idea, but
because you live in an affluent city.
Apparently, yeah. Well, I guess they went to see the Statue of Liberty. Probably. I guess that's. I'm not sure what else there is to see in New York.
Well, yeah, of course, the girls went out to see a woman, and the guys went out to see the girls at the radio,
the Rockettes. Yeah, the Rockettes.
Yeah, Rockettes. Of course.
Okay, well, pretty big honor, obviously. I got the opportunity to go because of the hard work we put in and others before us, and so that's kudos to them, and I'm sure they will do wonderfully well in New York City. So congrats to Bozeman High for yet another sterling performance and honor to our city.
Yes, yeah. I as a high school senior at Thomas Jefferson High School in Denver, I got included in the city choir for the Christmas season that my senior year. So yeah, I know what it's like. You perform and. It's a phenomenal thing to do, and it's a great experience. Mm-hmm. Good for your resume, by the way.
Yeah, that's for sure. You can always say, hey, I think I can stock your shelves at Walmart because I've sung at Carnegie Hall. Thank you very much.
I'm talking about to get into college.
I got you. Okay. All right. Well, we got to take another quick break.
Yes, we do.
And we'll be back with more news right after this. 4 minutes for the top of the hour. It is Thursday, March 7, 2019, 13 degrees outside. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor. You're on the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. Shane Matobin in Vancouver, British Columbia. And Shane's been brainwashing a caller online. So,
of course. Yeah, that's my job. I'm the producer. I gotta check it out.
Screen the calls, right.
Screen the calls, that's right.
All right, let's go to the phones. Caller, thanks for waiting here on the air. What's going on?
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
So my husband and I are nearing retirement, and we've done all kinds of planning, especially my husband. He's been great. We have investments, through the stock market, commodities, real estate, annuities, diversifying. And through blood, sweat, and tears, we've saved and worked, and we have these plans for retirement so that hopefully we'll be fine.
Yeah.
But, what's to say in 2020 if the Democrats were to gain control, White House, Congress, state houses, wherever, what's to stop them from saying, well, you have all this money and you don't need this much, but these people over here do. Mm-hmm. I mean, they did it in Greece. Remember when Obama was running, Joe the plumber asked him something about, wealth, and I believe Obama's response was something to the effect of, redistributing it. What's to stop them if they were to gain power? It's very concerning to us.
Yeah. My first answer would be the Constitution, which is supposed to protect you from government. That would be my first option. And the Supreme Court would be the other one, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean,
they can pass whatever they want, and
the Supreme Court is looking to other countries' case law. Why? We have our own Constitution and our own laws. I think that's bordering criminal when they do that. I mean,
well, I don't think Gorsuch and Alito and some of the other more conservative judges are doing that, but it is evident that Ginsburg and some of the others are looking at what other countries are doing, and which they shouldn't do, because obviously they have to deal with the Constitution, and that's it. They shouldn't be doing anything with other laws anywhere else. So,
and I want to remind you, dear, that the politicians in Washington are looking at the baby boomer, our generation, $36 trillion in assets. Yeah, and they tried to steal it with carbon. With the carbon tax, that didn't go well. That got blown out. And then Trump comes along and he gets rid of the death tax. Now we're not going to get access to that $36 trillion. So, the Green Deal. We'll use the Green Deal to get that $36 trillion.
Yeah, there you go. So.
And you talk about the Constitution. I mean, they've bastardized the Constitution. Look what they're doing to Trump without any evidence they're just they're trying any way that they can to try to get to him to bring him down. And if they're doing that to a sitting president, what would they do to regular citizens?
Well, that is something we got to think about when we walk into that that polling booth. As I said in this last election, it wasn't so much that Trump was elected, but you needed somebody who's going to put some judges on the Supreme Court that will protect Americans, and I still feel that way. So
it's just the Democrats with their socialist/communist agenda.
I know. It's well, let's hope the people wise up and say, hey, we're not going to accept that. So Trump's going to stay in there. So, hey, thanks for the call, though. I appreciate it.
Not just, not
thank you.
Trump, though, but yeah.
I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, thanks for listening. All right, we got to get out of here. Top of the hour, we got Fox News, we got Montana State News, Brooke Foster Weather. Shane and I'll be back, and it's open lines. Anything you want to talk about, we'll be back with 5 things you need to know right after this. 5 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m., it is Thursday, March 7, 2019, 13 degrees outside. Welcome, everyone, to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. Shane Taubman on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. Half man, half amazing. And Tom Eaglehoff, your morning mayor in the house. And Shane, we got a bunch of text messages we got to get to here. The first one.
Cool.
Boy, are you too gullible. So I guess that's because we believe in our country and our our world and all of that. So I guess we are gullible, but it's based on a lifetime of experience. So
truly, yeah.
Yeah. So if you haven't been there, never mind.
Yeah, exactly.
And I assume mentioning our poll question, will Donald Trump be reelected? Yes or no? Hell yes. Keep AM great.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep KMMS great. I agree with that. All right. Or don't forget, you can vote on the KMMS website or the app from one of our texters. That is absolutely true. You can vote on both of those places. Let's see. The only problem I have with the Knights as a mascot, Tom, is Kalispell already has that mascot. They've got Knights. Gee whiz. I mean, everybody takes the good names, Well, maybe the Titans or the Spartans or yeah, right. You and the Copperheads. Oh, let's see. Speaking of wolves, 4 wolves were just captured in Ontario and airlifted to Isle Royal National Park, doubling the park's population. The National Park Service hopes to take 20 to 30 wolves to Isle Royal over the next several years. Is Isle Royal up in your neck of the woods, Shane, or is that somewhere else?
I believe it's in Ontario.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, I think it is. I think you mentioned that. So, and Tom, please, Golden Knights and ladies. Okay.
Ooh,
so,
very true. Yeah.
Now that'll make a T-shirt that'll sell, I bet.
Well, yeah, I guess you can't say Golden Knights and mornings.
Well, that's true. Yeah. So, well, 5 things you need to know, Shane. We've got the Chinese telecommunications giant Huawei. Huawei. They need a phonetic after that.
That's right.
HUA is not way.
No, Huawei. Yeah. Well, here's the story real quick.
Yeah.
Meng Wanzhou, she's the CFO. We call her here in Canada Meng Wanzhou.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's under house arrest in her $6 million mansion, British Properties, West Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
Canadian government now has agreed to send her to the United States under the Treaty of Extradition, but she goes to the court system to try and resist it. So, but anyway, it's because she went around the Iranian sanctions. But it's more important. It's actually about another thing. ZTE, which is another telecom in China, they got hit with a $1.5 billion fine because of their abuse and having stolen proprietary technology from American corporations.
Mm-hmm.
As Huawei has, they're now the largest cell phone producer in the world. They stopped selling in the United States because of this whole thing over Meng Wanzhou. So, but the big thing is the 5G wireless networks that they're developing, and it's not something that the American social media guys have really caught up to yet. So they don't want them here to be able to compete having it. It's one of those, we don't want to have to compete with someone with more in their phone than us.
Right. There you go. So, well, and also, too, they don't want, they look at them as a security threat, and they don't want them building a 5G network worldwide that they can tap into and listen in on and, all of that stuff. So, no, I would agree with that. I think they need to, and also they went to court with the CEO that you're holding.
Yes.
And they're going to extradite her, I believe, to the U.S. And China's suing, of course. Why not?
Of course.
So I'm wondering if this is a bargaining chip, one more bargaining chip to get China to deal with North Korea, and also to come to the trade table and talk seriously about our $800 billion trade deficit.
You know it is, baby.
Yeah. So let's.
Part of the deal, baby.
Yeah, and we're still not going to let them put their phone lines in.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, Paul Manafort, he's finally going to jail. He's going to start serving his 3-year sentence, or 2-year sentence, I guess. 24, they could sentence him up to 24 years in prison, I guess, for tax and bank fraud. I think they're going to send him up for 3, I heard somewhere. But we'll
it's before this U.S. District Judge T.S. Ellis III, who was very upset with this whole thing from the very beginning with Mueller, because he said, you want this guy to come up with a story or sing because you're after the president. You're not after him. You're after the. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think it'll be a 20-year sentence. I think you're right. It'll be more like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. I think that's what I heard. They said they're probably going to sentence him to 3 years, and. But he has health problems and all kinds of things like that, I guess. So I don't know. Well, we all do, don't we?
Yeah, but keep in mind too, they've had him in prison in solitary confinement for almost a year. So,
yeah, so I think they're going to probably give him time served plus a couple of years or something like that, or whatever. So. All right. Well, the French court had it with the Catholic cardinals covering up sex abuse, and
it's amazing.
A court in Lyon, France, convicted Cardinal Philippe Barbarin for not reporting child sexual abuse dating back to the 1980s by a priest in his diocese. He's the Archbishop of Lyon and one of France's top Catholic folks, and was given a 6-month suspended prison sentence. His lawyer said will be appealed. 6 months suspended? Why would you appeal it? Guy's not there.
They've defrocked 848 priests, the Catholic Church, for molesting children, 2,572.
Yeah. And
there have been over 3,400 cases totally since 2004. So, it's, and like several archbishops and cardinals have been defrocked as well. So this is very sad, very sad.
Yeah. Well, it is, and I know it has to hit home with you because you're a good Catholic boy,
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there you go. It's still before 7 o'clock. Remember?
Right, I understand that, but I don't want any of your altar boy experiences. But
that's right.
I'm just saying that for folks in the Catholic Church, this has got to be. A real hit, because it keeps on coming. It just never ends with this, and the fact that they've covered this up and they've moved these guys from diocese to diocese, around the country, and just kind of ignored the reports and everything, to salvage their name, and now all of a sudden, as Reverend Wright would say, the chickens are coming home to roost, and.
Well, and especially
and have been for a long time.
They have over 221,000 parishes worldwide.
Yeah,
and it's not a small church. It had 5,300 bishops and cardinals and 415,000 priests.
Yeah,
that's a big church. That's a big company.
Yeah, it is. Well, and also they've gone through some changes. Don't they let priests marry now? Are they?
No, not
yet.
Church.
Not yet.
No.
Okay.
They don't want that.
But nuns can be, women can be priests now, I believe.
No,
I don't know.
Not in the Catholic Church.
Okay.
I think they can participate in
Mass and things like that.
Yeah, in Mass. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know. I'm just a innocent, naive Midwestern Baptist country boy.
Well, it's all demographics play a large part here because, as you know, the Catholics don't allow abortion like the Muslim religion. There's 1.3 billion Catholics, and so it's one of these things where when you mention about priests marrying, my goodness, if they can't have birth control and a priest gets married, all of a sudden you have to take care of the priest and his family and 8 kids.
Well, that would be true. I guess that would be, I could see that happening. But we do it in the Protestant church. Most churches have a place for the pastor or whatever to live in. I don't know. I don't know about the Jewish faith, but.
Well, it's similar. But I mean, the point is the problem with the Protestant church is they're going broke because they have to support the families.
That's a whole. Well, give 12% instead of 10. Come on.
Yeah, kick it up.
Let's go. Yeah. Jesus wants his 12%.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's go to the phones. 522 Talk is the number. 522-8255. Caller, thanks for waiting. You're on the line. What's up?
How's it going? Hey, you guys were the Hellgate Nights in Missoula. Those
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about the Hellgate Nights.
Well, but then somebody, I think you guys mentioned maybe they should name this high school Jeanette Rankin High.
Yeah.
Well, then you could join the rank and file of the Rankin Raiders.
Well, there you are. That would work.
Like
the Rankin Raiders would work. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
That's a good call.
Yeah, Jeanette Rankin, first woman to serve in Congress. Yeah.
I think that's better than West Slope. That's kind of dopey because we're on the east slope of the Continental Divide.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That makes a lot more sense. So that's where I think that's where we ought to go with that one.
I'd agree. All right, good suggestions. I like that.
Bye.
All right, thanks for the call. All right, appreciate it. All right, we got to take a break here, and we'll hear about all kinds of stuff, but not Noxitril or Babel.
Yes.
So it's going to be a pretty pleasant break for all of you. So enjoy, and we've got some local folks here too. So let's support those folks. We'll be right back. 21 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m. It's Thursday, March 7, 2019, 13 degrees outside. Welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. Shane and Tobin on the line from Vancouver, British Columbia, and Tommy Galoff, your morning mayor in the house. And from our text line, Shane, Isle Royale is an island of the Great Lakes located in the northwest of Lake Superior and part of the U.S. state of Michigan. The island and the 450 surrounding smaller islands and water make up the Isle Royale National Park. So,
if you look at a map, it says Mitch and Egan. So I think there's 2 states there, not 1.
Oh, yeah? Well, it looks like it, doesn't it? It kind of...
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, anyway, on a sad note, somebody that we've known probably most of our lives, Alex Trebek of Jeopardy host, a longtime Jeopardy host. I don't know how long he's been doing it, for a number of years, certainly. And he's been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, which is not a fun disease to have, certainly. The survival rate of that is pretty low, 5%, I believe.
Well, yeah, so our listeners, context, here we go. There are several types of pancreatic cancer, but pancreatic adenocarcinoma accounts for 85% of the cases. Yeah. And it's a result of the pancreas producing too many digestive enzymes because it primary is to produce insulin for the body. But if it produces too many digestive enzymes, for the digestive system, it starts creating a mass, and then it infects other organs. And as Tom says, not a good deal. Pancreatic adenocarcinoma very poor prognosis. After diagnosis, 25% of people survive 1 year, 5% live for 5 years. So it's one of these. It's one. Even if it's diagnosed early, 5 year survival rate rises to about 20%. But it's like these brain cancers. Depending on what type they are. It takes you. It just does.
Eventually, it's my brother was struck with that, and it was not a pleasant experience for.
No, and it's very painful too.
It is, yeah. It was not a fun thing. The treatments and everything are almost as bad as the disease. The whatever they call it that they do to you.
and amazing, it's the 5th most common cause of death from cancer. And 411,000 people a year die from this. So globally, but it's
50,000 are diagnosed each year, and then the death toll is pretty high on it. So but Trebek's hosted Jeopardy since 1984.
Imagine.
So I don't know. That's that's a lot of years.
That's a great job.
I'm too math challenged to do it. Figure that out this early in the morning.
Well, he's the greatest teleprompter reader of all times, right?
I was going to say, yeah. And he's got to be brilliant with all the questions over that number of years.
Yeah, imagine the knowledge.
He probably knows the capital of
Pakistan.
And knows all the rivers, knows all the lakes. Knows all the national leaders and everything. Geez, we should.
I wonder how many college degrees he'd qualify for. Wow.
I don't know if you've read that much information and know that much. It would seem like you would have to absorb some of that, because obviously before every show you need to make sure you're pronouncing things correctly.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously. Yeah. I mean, that alone could, as you can see with me, that's a struggle. But
yeah, right. No, Tom. The time is your struggle.
Yeah, time. Yeah, age is my problem.
Nah, you're the righteous eagle man. You carry on. I love. Oh, by the way, thanks for the picture of your production studio.
Yeah, right. There you go. Well, LeBron James passes Michael Jordan on the NBA's all-time points list. He started with the Los Angeles Lakers versus Denver Nuggets, needing 12 points in the second quarter, tied Jordan at 32,292 points. So there you are.
Wow.
Yeah. So, well, a lot of people still think, even with LeBron James passing him, a lot of people still arguably think Jordan was the best ever. So.
Well, and it wasn't just that. He was just the prettiest. I mean, the way he could go up and make his body turn, and the way he did, that was what everyone was there to see. This just incredible body, jumping in the air and doing this stuff in the air. I mean, it's not that LeBron James isn't great, but he's so big, he just gets up there and does it. Right?
Well, yeah. Well, he and Kobe Bryant came out of high school rather than coming out of college. Jordan came out of North Carolina.
That's right.
I believe. And it was quite a, so he had 4 or less years to score.
and the contrast between them for you and me was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, of course. I mean, tall and lanky. I mean, boy.
He is the leading scorer of all time. Yeah.
And I think with his arms up, he was 15 feet tall.
Well, yeah, he was over 7 feet tall, certainly.
Yeah.
With the wingspan.
Yeah, exactly.
You're in there. Yeah, he's up there pretty good. He had that sky hook that.
And the way they can palm the ball, I mean, their hands are so big.
Oh yeah,
huge.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, it's. I don't know. I remember we used to shoot baskets with a soccer ball, which was one that we could grab, and
sure.
I guess growing up where your hands mature along with the rest of your body, that we had a hard time shooting a soccer ball as well as we could a basketball. Because we just weren't used to the size and our hand ratio, that you would have normally.
Isn't this where you brag about your fastball playing baseball?
Yeah, I do. I had a pretty good fastball.
I know you did. Yeah,
I did good. Yeah, I did all right. From our text line 478-8298. My point was talking about the Lake Royale, or the Isle Royale Island rather. My point was that we're getting more Canadian wolves. So
there you go.
That's it.
That's good.
So
I like that.
I think we're tapped out on Canadian wolves. So the Gallatin Wolves, blue and white color. We could do the Gallatin Wolves for the high school.
There you go.
That'd be all right. I could live with that. So all right. Well, that's a good spot to end this segment. Yeah, we'll ponder that over the bottom of the hour break, and we come back. We'll finish the I guess we finished the 5 things you need to know.
Yes,
so we'll come back with more things you need to know right after the break at the bottom of the hour. One thing I want to talk to when we come back is that 17 states are trying to do an end run around the Electoral College. So I want to talk about that when we come back. And what they're doing, how they're doing it, and is it constitutional? Can it be done? And if it is done, how will that work out? So we'll talk about that when we come back. Shaman Taubman, half man, half amazing in Vancouver. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor in the house, and you're on the KMMS Morning Soapbox. Don't forget our poll question of the day. Will Trump be reelected? Yes or no? We'll be right back. 24 minutes before the top of the hour. It is Thursday, March 7, 2019, 13 degrees outside. And our IT guy just reminded me that if you want to vote on the new high school, you can also go to our website at kmmsam.com and vote there. So you can go to bsd7.org and vote there, or you can go to the, you can call them at, what was the number, 522 something? 522-6100, I think it was. Let me see, 522-6001, 522-6001. They'll mail you a form, or you can just go over to our website and get it done there. So.
Wow, the righteous eagle man strikes again there.
There we are, man. You got to have it. So. Let's see, the other thing we got to do here, we got a couple text messages I got to get to if I can get over to them. We'll see what's going on here. Los Angeles County has a greater population than the state in blue. So,
oh, my goodness.
So, yeah, if, we're going to talk about the Electoral College coming up, so I want to talk about that as well. But the new high school should adopt the Bighorns as its mascot. So there you go, from our text line at 478-8298. So put that in your speed dial, and we'll be happy to get your items on the air that way. We're phasing out our old line of 266-7617. So if you would change that number to 478-8298, and I get a faster, it comes up on the computer that there's a text message there. It doesn't always alert me on my cell phone. So, and we want to, well, and also, too, some people were blocked on the 266 line. So I'm not going to block anybody. I mean, I just won't read your text if I don't like them. But it'd have to be, I think your text would have to be one of the 8 words I can't say.
There you go.
For me to not read it. So, yeah, we'll take everything other than the 8 words I can't say. So there you are. So, well, I want to talk about this Electoral College because we got 17 states that are voting. And the Electoral College, there's 538 of them, I believe, Shane. You got to have 270 to win. And so in that case, and what the states are trying to do is an end run around the Constitution. Normally, what happens in a state like Montana, for example, if Trump would win our state, then the Republican Party would pick the electors who's going to vote for. Who's going to do the 3 electoral votes?
Correct. Yes, yeah. That's correct.
And normally those are party loyalists. They're not people who are going to jump ship.
Right.
And so that's the that's the issue that I think for the past 90-some years, only one person has ever voted opposite of what they declared they were going to vote. But it doesn't happen. Well, you saw it in Trump. I mean, everybody was trying to get the electors not to vote for him. And
yes,
but,
exactly.
But they did anyway. So,
but they're citing Article 2, Section 1 of your Constitution,
right?
Clause 2, and that's under the executive branch. Very short, so I'll read it. Each state shall appoint in such manner as the legislative thereof, state legislature, may direct a number of electors equal to the whole number of senators and representatives to which the state may be entitled in the Congress. But no senator or representative or person holding an office or of trust or profit under the United States shall be appointed as an elector. So they can't really do this. They have to allow the electors that they choose to vote. They can't just arbitrarily say, no, we're not going to appoint electors to vote. We're going to just, So it would require a constitutional amendment, and we know what that requires. So
so that is going to happen. So what the states have decided to do, in the case of Montana, we've got 2 senators and 1 representative, so we got 3 electoral votes.
Correct.
And what states like Colorado and some of these other states are doing is they have decided that once all the votes are in, whoever won the popular election is going to get those 3 electoral votes. Or however many is in your state. Yeah.
Correct.
That's their plan. And I don't believe there's anything in the Constitution that says you have to vote for the person who wins your state or anything like that. There's no restriction. So state houses, the one redeeming factor is that we have most of the United States is in Republican hands in the state house, both in the governorship and the Senate and House.
Right.
Montana is one that is not like that, obviously.
Yeah, there's 33 Republicans control the state house, governors. 16 Democrats are governors and 1 independent. Yeah. And 31 state houses are controlled by Republicans.
All right. So let's take a quick phone call, then we got to take a break. Caller, you are on the air. What's going on?
Hey, is your career going to the dogs with all the dog commercials?
I know, yeah. got all the dog commercials going on here, right?
Yeah. I thank you for letting us down easy.
Yeah, right. So what's going on?
2 things. You said yesterday or the day before that the Democrats are not thinking about the 2020 election. Hell, yes. Or what's his name? Trump is it. By keeping up this, the Mueller investigation, that's it. It's building up hate in the nation, and this is it. Secondary. The original investigation was whether Trump was involved or whether the Russians were helping, blah, blah, blah. You don't hear that anymore. Now it's everybody else, free for all. Now, shouldn't that have been stopped? And it could be stopped right now.
Well,
Have you found anything?
Yeah, well, I think the Democrats have pretty well decided that Mueller isn't going to find anything. So there's no sense even going after that. So the Senate has taken it on themselves and the House to do their own investigation because they feel there's something there that Mueller didn't find.
Everywhere is all over the place. They all have something there.
Well, yeah.
But what about the Mitch O'Connor? You don't hear from him anything.
Yeah, well.
Already from the Republicans, they could have stopped it right there and then.
Well, you would think so, but they haven't stopped much of anything lately. that's one of the problems we have that they
already started anything.
Yeah.
Can Trump himself drop it?
Well, yeah, he can fire Mueller. He can fire anybody he wants. You know, I mean, he can stop anything other than the Senate or House. He can't stop them from investigating. I mean, that's their. We have separation of powers, so yeah, he can't.
But it's does he have anyone behind him in the Republicans?
No. Well, Lindsey Graham maybe.
Because
You are brutal.
Yeah.
all the people who are being elected and his advisors has nothing to do with Trump. It's the old cronies.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Well, you're talking about a non-politician trying to herd cats as politicians, so.
Oh, yeah. By
That's
the
not
way,
gonna
this universal wage, does that also refer to the Washington
The universal way.
wage? Universal pay.
Oh, the universal wage.
Yeah. Well, you mean where everybody's guaranteed a paycheck? I don't think that's going to happen. So.
No,
Oh.
well, they're good.
Yeah.
They're good try on their part.
Yeah.
But anyway, Trump could.
Yeah.
Because after all, the states, the people are tired of this. We're tired of all this.
I know we are, and that's what I say. I think these investigations are hurting the Democrats. They should be just working toward 2020, and if you want to get Trump out rather than impeach him or do anything else, beat him at the ballot box. I mean, that's the way America works. So.
No.
That's Carlin. That's why Tom and I call it Crazy Gate.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they have nothing to offer except this.
Well, that's it. I got to go, sweetheart. I got to take a break here. So,
okay.
thanks for the call. All right, we'll be right back. 10 minutes before the top of the hour. It is Thursday, March 7th, 2019, and 15 degrees outside. We got a caller waiting. Caller, you are on the air. What's going on?
Hey, I just have a couple questions for you guys this morning.
Yeah.
First off, I hear a lot of people calling in support of the wall.
Yeah.
And you guys talk about supporting the wall all the time. Just a couple of things. So if you support the wall, number one, that means you're supporting eminent domain, basically. To build this wall, you're going to have to take away property from property owners that don't want to give up their land. And they're being forced by the Trump administration and by big government to give up their property.
Not yet.
Well, they're trying to.
Yeah, they are.
Secondly, they are.
Yeah.
Secondly, I'm curious. So, again, I'm going to ask, why aren't you guys keeping this show fair and balanced? And I'm just curious, the guy that you have in Vancouver, British Columbia, why is he even on the show? Like, we need somebody from Bozeman to give their opinion rather than somebody that's not even in our country. So, is he from Bozeman?
Yeah, he is. He went to school in Billings High School. He ran the Bacchus Pub here. He went to MSU in Bozeman. He ran the kitchen in the Bacchus Pub. He ran the kitchen in the Bacchus Pub. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, he has a Bozeman connection. That's why he's here.
Okay, well, why can't we get some, like, a fresh Bozeman connection on there, like me, per se? Let me come on the show 2 or 3 times a week so you can be fair.
2 or 3 times a week? I don't think so, but...
will you have these other opinions on your show every day? Why can't we get somebody else on there giving a different opinion?
Because anybody is free to call with any opinion they want, because all views are welcome here.
So you're opposed to somebody else with a differing viewpoint coming on your show?
Not at all. I told you to email me. I told you to email me, Tom at KMMSAM.com. Yeah, email me, and I will set up a time for you to come in.
Like once a week, like on a consistent basis?
Well, I will see how it goes.
Okay. Well, I think the people of Bozeman and your listeners deserve that. I think they deserve to listen to a different opinion instead of the right-wing viewpoints that are continuously spewed from 6 a.m. till 3 p.m. every day on this station.
Well,
and it's not just a 3-hour thing. You got Rush Limbaugh spilling his stuff. You got Sean Hannity doing all that. They need something fair and balanced. But that's all I'm going to say, and I'm going to send you an email.
Okay, good. And, send me an email. We'll set up a time. We'll talk about it, and we'll see what we can arrange.
So you guys do support eminent domain then, correct?
Well, I support the wall. Now, whether or not it is done with eminent domain or someone else or some other way, then
it's going to require eminent domain.
Well, then those people will be compensated for their land according to the fair value of the land.
What if they don't want to give up their land?
Well, then they can go to court.
Wow. Okay.
Well, they can't they? I mean, it's a free country. You can go to court, right?
Yeah, but what if you lose? I mean, you're going against you're going against big government interests. You're saying that you're supporting big government interest over individualism.
No, I'm saying
right now.
I'm saying I'm trying to protect the border from people coming in illegally.
But it's going to take big government interest to accomplish that. So you're okay with that?
Well, big government interest does all the ports of entry. So what am I going to do? Give those up?
See, but you're not making any sense here. No.
I'm not?
No, because the ports of entry, that's where all the drugs are coming from. Look at the port of Savannah.
They are. I have no dispute about where the drugs are coming in.
But you just said that the most. Do you think most of the drugs are coming across the border then?
No, I think they're coming through ports of entry.
So why the wall on the border?
To prevent people from coming in.
Well, what about the tunnels, though? Don't you think tunnels really...
I want them building tunnels. I wrote a blog about that. Do you know how long it takes to dig a tunnel? You got to find a place where it's not visible. You got to dig the tunnel. You got to ventilate it. You got to put a rail system in.
Sure.
I would love for them to be digging tunnels instead of walking across.
They are doing that, though. That's the thing. There are already tunnels.
And we can find those tunnels.
And these drug lords can afford it. They can build these tunnels in no time.
Yep. Well, if they can without detection, then more power to them.
What about boats? I mean,
boats too. Yeah, boats come in too.
Wouldn't it be pretty easy for somebody to, let's say, hop in a boat on the Texas-Mexico border and then just kind of skirt on around up into Texas?
Look at Miami.
No, but I'm talking about Mexico.
Canada.
Yeah, Canada too.
2 weeks ago, a shipment of cars came from Mexico to Canada. And then they took them to Ontario, and then they tried to cross them over the border, and they got stopped because they were full of drugs. Yeah. So that's how bad. That's how much trouble the cartel's in. They're taking drastic measures. Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that, but I mean we have to look at the root of the problem where the drugs are actually coming in, and they are coming in at the ports of entry and not across these sparsely populated areas of the border. And
I've never disagreed with that.
Well, maybe we need to look into other options than just a wall.
There are other options other than I'm going to have to let you go because I got to take a break. But there are other options in this bill. They are improving more electronic surveillance and drug stuff at the border, along with this wall promotion or this wall bill.
So
there's more guards, and who pays for it now?
Who's going to pay for the wall?
Well, a business will.
Business?
Yeah. Business pays all bills.
How's business going to cover the wall when the money has to be appropriated from our Congress?
Well, I will tell you after the break.
I mean, the money automatically won't go back into the Treasury if you save money from business. That just doesn't work that way.
Okay. Well, I'll explain it when we come back, but I got to take a break. Thanks for the call. And send me an email, and we'll talk about it.
I'll be there.
All right. Hey, thanks. All right. We got to take a quick break. Get out of here. We'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. We went a little long on that last break. We're going to have to duck out of here, pay some bills and whatever. To the caller online, Shay will just have that gentleman call back after the top of the hour. So if you want to impart that to him. And 522-TALK is the number if you want to be a part of the big broadcast. Or text us at our new text line, 478-8298. We're eventually going to discontinue the 266-7617. So make sure you write down the 478-8298 after, if you want to text us.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll be back after the news. 5 minutes after the hour of 8 a.m., it's Thursday, March 7, 2019, 17 degrees outside. Shane Matobin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. Tommy Goloff, your morning mayor, in the house. And in the interest of being fair and balanced, of course, we've got the Gallatin County Republicans here. Art Whittick is in the house. How you doing?
Good morning, Tom. How are you?
Good, great. Good to see you again. Haven't seen you for a long time.
Yeah, it has been a while.
Yeah, so
I may be your least controversial guest today.
Well, I don't know.
Show.
You're a Republican. Come on. What's the deal? And I should mention that all Democrats are welcome here.
Yeah.
The the Gallatin Democrats are welcome anytime they want to come in, promote anything they want. I am more than happy to hold the door as they...
The best policy outcome is when you have debate.
That's true.
And there should be allowed to be free speech and debate and dissent on all of these matters.
Well, that's what I say. All views are welcome here.
Yeah.
So
yeah, good.
Well, you're here. We've got the coming up on March 16th. We've got the Lincoln Reagan dinner at 6 p.m. Where's that going to be at, Art?
It's going to be at the Grand Tree.
Grand Tree, okay.
And people can get their tickets by either going onto the website, our website, which is GallatinRepublican.com,
okay,
or they can call 518-7000, and we can arrange to get tickets for you.
Okay, all right.
It is a Saturday night,
yeah,
and we have a special guest from Washington. Mark Lauder had been with President Trump during his transition, and also Vice President Pence.
Yeah.
And now Mark is on the President Trump's reelection campaign, and so he's going to be able to provide us some interesting insight on how that transition was in 2016 and what they're working on now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's this is a yearly event. You always have it, obviously.
Annual event. We try to honor two of the best presidents the country has ever had, Lincoln and Reagan. And it's usually a very fun time. We have some auction items, and we have some speakers. Usually some people come over from Helena and also around the state. And we're looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, yeah. Talking about, obviously, you've heard some of the conversation this morning we were having. About...
a little bit. Well, I was trying to find a parking spot, and we need to get some snow removal on the streets in Bozeman.
We do, yeah. That's a challenge, yeah. Every morning I come in about 5 o'clock, and the graders are out on Main Street trying to do something. But I don't see a whole lot of. I was going to say I don't see a whole lot of improvement, but. Well, obviously, with the Republicans and the Democrats are going at it now. Obviously, with the everything that's happening in the, with the change in the election, where the House was taken over by the Democratic Party, and then we got through a couple more seats in the Senate. But is Mark going to shed any light on some of the goings on there as to how? What the prospects are for the next half year or year or whatever?
I think so. I mean, somebody like that in his position, I'm sure his phone is, texts and tweets, and he is up to speed on all these things as they change by the minute. I mean, frankly, it's 10 days away or 8 days away. By the time the 16th rolls around, there's going to be a whole new bunch of things to talk about, and there will be things that are current and topical as of that day. Washington is on a 24-hour news cycle. Yeah. And so, the things that are most important today may not be the most important things on March 16th. We'll see. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's I'm guessing that he's not going to confirm the Russians colluded in the election.
No, I don't.
Probably
think
not. And he's not under subpoena, I don't think either. Is
he? No, I don't think so. Yeah, so I think
have to give up the documents and whatever. So
this 2020 election is going to be a very important election.
It will be.
And I think that the sides are already framing their positions.
Yep.
And the Democrats are working on investigation instead of legislation. No. And I think President Trump will be able to run on the things that he's actually accomplished. It's your last caller was talking about how there needs to be fair and balanced presentations. I mean, I don't know. I try to look at a variety of news sources, Washington Post, New York Times, Bozeman Chronicle, but also the cable networks. And frankly, it's hard to watch some of these cable networks like CNN for me now. Because it's just all Trump hate, and I don't think it's much news. And so, hopefully, we'll be able to have a little bit more balanced dialogue and debate. And I think the country's going to have two clear choices in 2020 when you look at the field of the Democrats and who they're fielding. And I think now there's 16 of them that are running.
Well, there were 17 ran against Trump, so that's the way, and it should be. I think the more the merrier. I talking about fair and balanced. I see with the DNC doesn't want Fox News anywhere near the debates.
Right.
I have watched debates. I thought MSNBC was fair. I thought Fox was fair. I thought CNN was fair. They may not have asked the questions I would have asked, but
yeah. Well, the DNC,
yeah.
the Fox isn't the DNC's problem. The DNC's problem is having so many candidates. How in the world do you put all those candidates on a stage and allow them to debate?
Well, that's what they did with they had an afternoon debate and then they had an evening debate based on the poll numbers of who was in the top echelon. And
but it's a pretty complicated affair when you're trying to give everybody a fair chance to speak.
Yeah. Let's take a quick phone call. 522 Talk is the number. Caller, you're on the air with Art Whittick. What's the name? What's going on?
Good morning. This is Tom. How are you?
Good.
Hey, I wanted to just talk a little bit about the previous discussion about the border wall or the lack thereof. Your previous caller that was rather contentious in my opinion, but he may be correct that the large majority of the drugs do attempt to come through the ports of entry, but that but let's assume that 100% of them did, which isn't the case. It still leaves us with the immense problem that we're dealing with right now. There were 75,000 plus people illegally crossed the borders just last month alone. So these people, a lot of them now have been found to got infectious diseases, one thing or another. And even if none of them were carrying drugs, none of them were criminals, and none of them had infectious diseases, we still cannot allow people to just indiscriminately charge through our country and expect housing, food, shelter. Somebody has to pay for this. And if we had a secure fence and money allocated for facilities for those that wanted to try to gain legal entry, we can do that. But a wall is an absolute necessity. Every country in the world does not let people indiscriminately just charge through their borders. So,
all right.
I think your caller is touching on something. I mean, it's really fundamental. Yeah. Do we want a country that has a border or a boundary?
Yeah.
And really, I think the other side of this debate wants just a free flow of people so that you don't have any border. I think the president has made it clear he wants immigration. Yeah. He just wants it orderly and legal. So they I'm from a family of immigrants. So are you. All of us are really, right?
Yeah.
And but they did it the right way. They went through Ellis Island. They filled out the paperwork they needed to.
And they had a sponsor in most cases.
Yeah.
When they came to Ellis Island, at least anyway, they had somebody who was going to account for them, take care of them, take them in and take care of them because there wasn't any welfare. There wasn't any food stamps and stuff like that.
And they were quarantined for 3 months.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, this isn't a question about immigration. I think it's a question about porous borders, open borders, allowing people to come in and out whenever they want. I occasionally travel outside of the country. You always have to go through and get properly authorized and permitted to go through another country, to another country. So I think it's pretty fundamental, and I think most American people understand that.
Yeah. Let me ask you something. I don't want to deviate too far from what we're here talking about, obviously, is your Lincoln Reagan dinner, but you're an attorney. One of the things that was mentioned was eminent domain, because if we're going to put a wall on the border, we're going to approach some people and say, hey, we're going to eminent domain your land here,
right,
and compensate you for the fair market value of that land. And if they don't want to do that, do they have a court option? Can they go to court and say, hey, this would injure me?
Sure. I mean,
But you're going against the United States of America is the question. So,
yeah, I've represented a lot of clients against government. That's what my forte of my practice is.
Yeah.
Eminent domain is a constitutional principle that basically allows for the public to be able to acquire property for public purposes, right? And that has always been the case for every civilization. Now, the question is, will there be just compensation? And that's when people are allowed to say, hey, I don't think that's a fair amount of money for my land, and I want to be able to go to court and get the right answer for that. Yeah. So, I mean, clearly people that bought land on our southern border knew when they bought the land that there was a border there.
Mm-hmm.
And, government policies change. And if government says it's in our best interest, I mean, what's the role of government? It's to protect people's life, liberty, and property. Yeah. That's it. So if the government decides, hey, we need to do this to protect our people, then the rights of a particular private property owner are going to yield. And it's tough on that one person, but there is a orderly system in place for him to be justly compensated.
Okay. All right. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. We're talking with Art Wittick. They have the Gallatin County Lincoln Reagan dinner coming up March 16th, 6 p.m. at the Grand Tree. And Mark Lauder from the Trump campaign will be on hand to speak to you. And more information, 518-7000 is the number, 518-7000. And Shane and I and Mark, or Art rather, will be back right after this. 21 minutes after the hour. It is Thursday, March 7, 2019, 19 degrees outside. Art Wittick is in the house with me, and we've got the Lincoln Reagan dinner coming up March 16th, 6 p.m. at the Grand Tree, and Mark Lauder from the Trump administration will be on hand to chat with you. And for more information, give them a call at 518-7000. 518-7000, get your tickets, and we'll see you over there. And we've got a caller patiently waiting who's been brainwashed by Shane. So let's call you on the air. What's going on?
Hey, Shane is a valuable resource and a good researcher. And
yeah,
he used to make some of the best soup in Bozeman when he was at the box. All you could eat soup and bread for $5.
Yeah.
It was the best deal in town.
Yeah, I used to. He talked about how many potatoes he had to bring in and peel the day before for that. Clam chowder Friday?
Oh, that was some good stuff there. That was good soup. That was damn good soup. Well, anyway, we don't need a wall. We need a double fence like the demilitarized zone. That can be a wildlife corridor in between. In fact, if we build a wall, it's going to get shut down by the court.
Well, it may. Yeah, it could possibly be.
Because it doesn't allow wildlife to pass through.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the demilitarized zone, it's one of the few places in the world that has Manchurian tigers have moved in there.
Mm.
It's got pigs and red deer and all kinds of stuff have moved into that 100-yard corridor there.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we need here. It could become a real wildlife. You could have jaguars and mountain lions and wolves. And
all right.
There is such a thing as a Mexican grizzly.
Okay.
Believe it or not, there are grizzly bears in Mexico.
All right.
But,
I had no idea.
That's why do you think California has a grizzly bear on its flag?
Well, that's true. I guess.
Well, anyway.
All right.
I don't think we need a liberal talk show host. We had one. He was a miserable failure. His name was Chris Griffin.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Hey, thanks for the call.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Let's take one more call. Caller, you on the air. What's going on?
Well, Thomas, there's all kinds of stuff going on
Yeah.
in that bad world.
Hey, Pete, what's up?
And you just broke. I have never, ever on your show or any show heard a small government Democrat.
Oh.
Should I say socialist?
He's a party of one.
This is the first time I ever heard that. And I'll grant it. Eminent domain has been abused, and I'll cite the Kilo case on that one.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little overboard.
Yeah.
But as far as the wall goes, and the contractor just offered Trump a hell of a deal, 234 miles for $1.6 billion.
Yeah.
That's pretty reasonable.
Yeah. Well, we already have a lot of the border is fenced already. So,
right.
I don't know if the migration of wildlife works or not. I mean, there's a pretty good amount of the border that's already fenced in, and a lot of it doesn't need fencing because of natural barriers or,
right.
Things like that.
Frankly, if you put a fence along certain areas and you don't fence the rest of it, then that's where the people are going. And,
yeah.
Anybody who's gone down there has seen the massive amounts of people and frankly, drugs going back and forth. And
well, what about Art? What about the people? I wonder if these guys had changed their mind if it was one of someone in their family that was killed in a hit and run, or an illegal alien driving drunk, or shot in the back, or whatever. You're going to change your mind then? How does that feel? What about those people?
Yeah. Well, I think also, you can point to one or two people who don't want a fence on their property. They don't want to get money for a fence on their property. There's an awful lot of people on the border who want a fence because they're seeing the impacts of the high crime and the clash. And so they want government to do what government's supposed to do: protect their life, liberty, and property. That's it.
To me, either you're a country or you're not.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't control your borders, you're not a country.
Right.
Sorry. And maybe that's what these globalists want. They don't want any countries. They don't want any nation states. But I don't agree with that. I do.
Yeah.
And that's all I got to say this morning, fellas.
Well, if there's no borders, we're all moving south for better weather.
Well, that's going to happen too because global warming.
Hey, wait! What about moving to Canada? 30% on your money. Come on, they say this all the time.
No, you're going to be under the ice up there, Shane.
Yeah.
Because global warming is going to turn into an ice age. That's what I see. We ain't got to worry about. If the temperature went up 2 degrees, we'd still be okay. But if it goes down 2 degrees, we're going to be in big trouble, buddy.
There you are. True. All right. Hey, thanks, Pete.
You bet.
All right. All right, once again, Art Wittig is our guest. March 16th, Lincoln Reagan dinner, 6 p.m. at the Grand Tree. Mark Lauder will be the guest speaker there.
And I should also point out, Tom, that you can get your tickets directly by going to the website, which is GallatinRepublicans.com. And you can put all your information in, your credit card, and we'll have a ticket waiting for you.
Have it all ready to go for you. Yeah. Yep. Okay. And for more information, you call 518-7000. And if there's any questions on whatever anybody would have questions on, I guess, we'll be there. So, and I know you're going to have other speakers from local Helena and from some other places. Yep. So
we'll talk a little politics. We'll talk a little shop. It'll be fun.
All right. Let's take one last call here. Caller, you are on the air with Art Wittig and Tom and Shane. What's up?
Hi, it's Gay, and I'm sorry to take up their time for the Reagan dinner with this wall thing.
Yeah.
One of the biggest complainers down there is an Indian tribe that has half of their reservation on the American side and half on the Mexican side. They don't want their land split. That's why they're filing all these lawsuits. I say just let them be fenced off on the Mexican side. It won't, how much desert do you really want to own?
Yeah. Can we just make a U-turn around them, or?
Yeah, just build on the outside. They don't want their land divided, so it makes it difficult for them to move their cattle or whatever back and forth. So I say just build a fence around them on the outside of their land, and then they won't have anything to complain about. It's going to cost us a little bit more to build a fence, but, it makes them happy.
All right.
And like I said, how much desert do you really want?
Okay. All right. Thanks, Gabe. Well, I don't know.
And you know what?
How's the Bureau of Indian Affairs handle that being? Of course,
I don't know. But
I guess they'd be their own sovereign country, wouldn't they?
But I think that what these callers are pointing to is this divide in our country.
It is,
and it has to be discussed. It has to be worked on. There has to be some compromises, and that's what a big theme of the 2020 election will be.
All right.
So
thanks, Art, for coming in. Appreciate it. Yeah,
Thanks
March 16th, the Lincoln Reagan dinner will be held. You can get tickets at the GallatinCaliRepublicans.com or give them a call at 518-7000. It's going to be at the Grand Tree. Mark Lauder will be the speaker there, and hopefully a lot of people turn out for that. And
thank you for letting us come on this morning.
Happy to do it, yeah.
All right.
And, of course, the Gallatin Valley Democrats are more than welcome to come in and promote anything they've got
Hey, they
going
can
on.
even come over and buy some tickets and come to our dinner.
They could do that.
Yeah,
all right.
that'd be great.
I'm sure they want to sneak in and make sure, what are you guys doing? All right.
All right. Thanks, Tom.
All right. Thanks, Art. All right. We got to duck out and pay a couple of bills. When we come back, maybe we'll talk more about this wall situation, eminent domain and all that, I guess. So we'll see what's going on. 23 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Thursday, March 7th, 2019. And Tom Eagle off your morning mayor in the house. Shaman Tobin on the line from Vancouver, British Columbia. And the phones are ringing already, Shane. So let's take some phone calls. Then we got a bunch of texts we got to get to. So, caller, you are on the morning soapbox. What's going on?
Hey, good morning, Big Kahuna.
Hey.
Hey, how you doing? I'm calling to comment in response to that megalomaniacal cretin, who called in right before break.
Yeah.
He's a. I don't even know where to begin with someone like him. For one thing, Shane fits the definition of an American patriot, even though he's Canadian, more than most Americans do.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's from Bozeman is irrelevant. The guy's anti-American. He's pro-socialism, pro-communism. And I'd like to ask that, disingenuous cretin. I'm sure he's running to get his dictionary to realize what I just called him. That's how bright he is. But anyway, bottom line is, with our highway and transportation infrastructure, I hope he doesn't use any of the highways or roadways, because those are established through eminent domain or easements or similar type of laws. If you consider those anti-American, I sure hope to God, he's not using any of that transportation system that was provided through our government through eminent domain and similar, acquisition. Apparently, I guess he's not smart enough to know that.
All right. Thanks for the call. All right. Well, from our text line, let's go over here and see what our texters have to say. Let's see. Conservatives on your show constantly talk a big game about the need for smaller government, yet the size of government has exponentially increased while conservatives have been in power. Farmer bailouts, forced eminent domain, the approval of and release of personal and sensitive data, oil and gas subsidies for companies that profit billions. Who do conservatives really stand for? The people are a big business and big government, and the continuing bashing of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in your show is quite funny. She's living in conservative. she's living in conservatives' heads rent free. Oh, she's living in conservative heads rent free. I got you.
Oh, there you go.
There we go.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I was thinking about her apartment, whatever. So, let's see. I think you should block the head of state of Montana chapter of the Democratic Socialists of America, Andy Boyd. Don't want to listen to him endlessly spewing his stuff because he monopolizes the call and is so combative. Let's see. Meth is not coming through the ports. People are carrying it in, and the liberal guy, where is he from? So, and let's see. Andy, you already have all the other left-wing radio stations to listen to. Take me out of wee Andy. Okay, so I guess. And I think that, let's see, we got a couple over on our other text line here. If I can get over there, hopefully. Come on. Now let's close those two things, and let's see if I can find it over here somewhere. There it is. All right. Don't let him on unless you have a strong debater to counterbalance his negative spew. What leftist group is he associated with? What will the Dems in Colorado do when Trump wins the popular vote and their state goes the other way? So that's an issue. If they want to build tunnels, that suggests ports of entry aren't working or aren't enough. And Los Angeles County has a greater population than 44 states in the union. So if you can get Los Angeles County, you're really ahead in the popular vote. So that that kind of puts it all together. One of the things that people don't understand about this station and our others, I got to take a break. Let me talk about that when we come back. That it's Well, we'll talk about it when we come back. I don't even know how to tease it. So, anyway, we'll be right back with more after this. 15 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Thursday, March 7th, 2019. And Shane Tobin on the line with me. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor. And Shane is busily brainwashing the caller. So, caller, you are on the air. What's your name? What's going on?
Good morning. This is Charity.
Hi.
And Shane hardly said anything to me at all.
Oh, okay.
I just prepped her for you, Tom.
Okay, good. What's up?
So I just wanted to add my 2 cents to Andy's comments about coming on the air, and he should try to get his own show if he really wants to be a 2 to 3 day a week commentator on socialism.
Yeah.
But I don't think that coming on to a radio show where the great majority of the listeners are going to argue with him is going to be a good format because well, number one, he kind of sounds whiny to me. And that's the worst way to have a civilized disagreement with someone. And it puts off anyone who would want to listen.
Right.
Also to the conversation and be able to formulate their own conclusions based on facts that are presented. And I don't mind listening to the argument. I have someone in my family who is leaning towards socialism, and I have listened to her, and she has listened to me, and we don't agree with each other, but we don't whine at each other either. So I would say that, Andy, if Tom does let you come on his show, don't act like the world is falling apart because people don't agree with you. And anyway, that's my 2 cents.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call, Charity. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, Charity.
Yeah. 522 Talk is the number. Caller, you on the air. What's going on?
Hey, guys, it's Mayor.
Hey.
Say, most property, at least my property, has a utility easement, and I would think that I think most property in the U.S. has some sort of utility easement that could be appropriated for a wall. And
maybe.
And then they complain about taking property. Well, let me ask this question to the liberals: the Green New Deal with all the, if we're not going to have fossil fuel, it's all going to be solar and wind. How many millions of acres is it going to take to put those solar panels and wind turbines on? And I doubt if they'll have a problem taking people's property for that. So, it works.
Very good point.
It works both ways. And as far as, you, Shane, I don't care where you come from, you are a wealth of information, and I appreciate that. And as far as Andy's concerned, if he comes on, there won't be a discussion. There'll be, there won't be a discussion. He will be talking over.
Well, we'll have some rules that are going to cover that. So.
Yeah, and also let me just put it this way: if that guy comes on, my radio goes off. That's all there is to it. I don't, Well,
then you got to be open-minded. You got to.
No, I am. You know what? I am open-minded, but I listen to enough of the dribble just on the sound bites from other radio talk show programs. That's enough to make me want to slip my wrist.
I hear
you. To sit and listen to that guy who really will not come with bearing facts. I don't have any interest. I know what they are about, and that's why I listen to you, because I don't agree with their philosophy. I don't want any part of socialism, communism. So therefore, why would I subject myself to listen to that nonsense? I know what it does to countries. I know what it does to people. I don't want any part of it. So I won't be I don't need to let that toxic energy into my home than I already have to hear it on other talk show hosts when they play sound bites. I can hardly handle it then.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Anyway, that's all I got to say.
All right. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. 522 Talk is the number. Caller, you on the morning soapbox. What's your name? What's going on?
Yes, Frank.
Hey, Frank.
I got a simple solution for this socialism. And all the folks that want to sign on to socialism need to register as a socialist, all their paychecks are confiscated and distributed amongst those who have signed on to socialism, and then come back and visit with us a couple years later and let
sort
us
of like
know
a
how-
commune, huh?
Exactly, because I'm not going to sign on to it. No way, no how. And if they want it, there's enough of them that they can do it themselves.
Hey, keeping your own money is not a very compassionate idea, you know.
Yeah, well, that's just too darn bad. I've worked hard for what I've got, and if you don't want to work, you don't eat.
All right, I hear you. Thanks for the call.
Yeah.
All right, 522-TALK is the number. Calling you on the air. What's up?
Hey Tom, I've been a listener to this station for several decades now,
Yeah.
so I've heard a lot of
Me too.
voices come and go, and and I must say you're one of the more moderate, calm, collected voices that has been on this station.
Yeah.
There's been some real wingnuts on.
Well, yes, there has.
Not to mention names, but hey, one of the things that occurred many years ago, I don't know if you recall it. There was a fellow locally here who was the open, blatant, registered socialist, socialist of the Socialist Party of America. Charles Coughlin was his name.
Yeah, I remember Charles. Yeah. Charles used to be a guest with George from the. He was the university. Yeah, he was from the university.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was a hoot. He was about 3.5 feet tall.
That's right, and not wound real tight either.
And he had the paint girl haircut, you know,
with heels.
Yeah,
but an interesting character. I mean, he was a socialist, and he added a lot of color and a lot of flavor to the radio station.
He did do that. I remember listening to him.
Yep.
He was quite a guy.
And so the point I'm making is having a diverse view of various ideas and thoughts, I think, is a terrific idea.
Yeah.
And whether it's received well or not by various people, that's their choice about how they want to hear it.
Yeah, sure.
But it's always interesting to hear somebody else's viewpoint. And I thought when Andy called today, if that was the fellow earlier, he I think his ideas are worth listening to. He perhaps needs to package it a little bit more calmly. But having him on from time to time, what the heck? Why not?
Yeah. No, I'm considering it. That's why I had him email me, and we'll maybe sit down, have a cup of coffee, and talk about it and how we're going to structure it, because I'm not going to sit here and have an hour argument with someone. We've got to be able to express views and not talk over each other and all of that. So we'll have to work those things out.
Those are good guideposts.
Yeah, they are. I'm not here to have a shout at each other or have arguments. We're going to have a discussion, or we're not going to have it.
Well, that I think would serve everyone very well.
Yeah. Well, that's what Coughlin did. George let him talk, and then George made his point, and the callers called in and made their point, and that's how good radio works. So, all right.
So this radio station is a social treasure, I think, for Bozeman, and
we're
if
trying.
it gets derailed, if it gets derailed too far. But one of the problems that I think Andy faces, and I feel this way, is that you're the only alternative in town right now. Other than PBS, and that's pretty much left-leaning totally.
Yeah.
So if you want to listen to somebody else, you have to go to the internet and listen out of state or out of area.
Yeah.
So that's one of the frustrations that some people may have is that you're basically the only game in town.
Yeah. Probably by next summer, I think Ryer, they're working something out over there to start those stations up again. So we've got about a year or so, or maybe a little more than a year, to get our act together and be ready to compete, head on with whatever they do over there. So.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. Thanks for the call.
Thank you, Tom.
All right. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, we don't have much time left here, so in fact, the theme we'll be playing. Say goodbye, Shane. Shade. All right, he must have already left, so, well, he didn't get a chance to say goodbye, so I'll say goodbye for him. Hey, thanks a lot for listening, and I didn't get to talk about what I wanted to talk about, but I will do it tomorrow, maybe in the 8 o'clock hour, so we got some of the same folks listening, and we'll chat about that, so... All right, that does it for me, and tomorrow is finally Friday. No Jennifer tomorrow. She is going to be doing lawyer stuff, so we'll have another 3 hours of open lines. Anything that's on your mind, we'll be happy to entertain that thought, because all views are welcome here. So we'll see everybody tomorrow at 6 a.m.